Some people ask me, what's there to be hopeful for? I've got to tell you, I'm really hopeful because there is a whole new movement that's taking a place around the world, and definitely in America. And it's called citizen enterprise. After the Civil War, after the American Civil War, we really developed private enterprise in a big way. I mean, that's where the Industrial Revolution started, big companies started happening. And the genius of private enterprise is it created a whole level of productivity that Americans never had before. And in 100 years, every individual became 50 times more productive when they worked in an industrial setting than they had been on the farm. And what that produced was plenty. It produced a way to have homes of our own that we could really enjoy, and heating and cars and plumbing and all those things that we really got in the last century. After the Great Depression, the second great new force grew up, and that was really how we looked at government. Before the Depression, the government was really sort of hands-off, every man for himself kind of way of living. After the Great Depression, we decided that we were going to create government that could care for each other. We'd have a sense of mutual responsibility about all of society. Big business and big government really got together in the 80s and 90s, and they started to self-corrupt each other. So what happened is that big business began to buy big government, and it created a government that's no longer for the people and by the people. It's all for special interests and so forth. And the manifestation of it we see everywhere, and it disgusts almost all Americans. But what's happened that is in the last 10 years, there have been over 100,000 new enterprises started worldwide, most of them non-profit or non-governmental, that provide the same services that we thought government or business would provide. This is called citizen enterprise. And what it means is, think of a new non-for-profit that is doing something, say like Global Giving, which allows people to use eBay-type technology to directly donate to little villages in Africa or inner-city study groups in the United States to improve education, after-school programs, or to bring safe water to Africa. You can directly commit your money to the people that are actually trying to solve the problem, so it's not caught up in this big bureaucracy. These citizen enterprises, they're only responsible to citizens. They're not responsible to shareholders. They're not responsible to the big special interest. And this is growing. I talk to people every day, 25, 30-year-olds that have started these new nonprofit organizations. At the same time, citizen enterprise and this whole concept of social responsibility is taking over a whole new generation of entrepreneurs, so that you have people starting businesses that actually attack social problems as part of their strategy, as part of a way to make money. I've got an organization right here in San Diego that I've come across called Mama Malucci. Mama Malucci started about 5 years ago, and they're in the nut business, the candy nut business. And as their little business grew, they started to get nuts from Indonesia. Indonesia is the most Muslim country in the world. And as it continued to grow, their main supplier of cashews could no longer supply all the cashews they needed. And they asked them if they could start a microloan program to some of the poorest Muslim families in Indonesia. Now this is what's happening. Jihadists are recruiting the sons of the poorest Muslim families around the world to become suicide bombers. In exchange for $300 to $500, a family will give up their oldest son to become a hero, and they're told they'll go to heaven for this work. Well, that's a message that really gets through to people if you're really impoverished. So what Mama Malucci did is they started a microloan program for $40. You can put a Muslim family in Indonesia in the nut processing business that allows them to become middle class, actually, in Indonesia, that allows them a whole new way of looking at the future than just poverty. So here's this company here in Carlsbad, California, that is fighting terrorism at the root just by thinking about it. Well, this is happening everywhere. It's happening with a whole new generation of leaders, mostly people under 35, who are looking at the future in a whole new way. And I come across them every town I visit in America. Well, this is a story that needs to be told, because once you tap in to both the intellect, the idea, the creativity, and the heart to create a better world, there's no telling what the future could be. So that's why I'm hopeful.